Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I'm a business valuation expert in St. Louis, Missouri. I have the privilege of interviewing Greg Caruso today, who is a business broker in Maryland, New Jersey, and New York, and he knows how to sell a business. He also helps business owners with financial planning and has recently written a book called The Art of Business Valuation, and it will be published by Wiley Sons. Another kind of target market, if you will, for this information in this book is for people that are helping business owners. So do you have 2 or 3 valuation tips that we could talk about for financial advisors who may be assisting business owners with strategic planning or selling a company?
Sure. And a good portion of the book is geared towards helping people, other advisors who may be dealing with owners who are starting to go through this process. The first point, I call it the red sports car theory. When you go in an auto dealership, I don't know about you, but I always drift over to the red sports car with the big engine and the low seats that I almost can't get into anymore. That's emotion. That car is cool. I want to look at it. I'm emotionally attached to it. Then I go over and depending on where I was in life, get my minivan or my SUV. Emotion is huge to this owner. This is probably his last and favorite child, the one that talked back the least, spent the most time with it. And it's just a huge emotional. And so many advisors spend all their time on the financial. In some ways, the financial is kind of easy. It's math at a certain point. But the emotional, so ask questions. The book goes into, for different situations and different points in the process, lots of questions. Ask questions and listen. Help them work through these things. You will be their advisor forever because that's what they're really grappling with. Second thing, start early. If you start your exit plan and bring it into your strategic planning process 10 years early, and you make it a goal and you make stay agreements with bonuses for the owners and all these things you can do to strengthen your management team, to strengthen that transition period. If you make it a positive thing, it can be very good. If it's 3 months before closing and you're afraid, is my key vice president who's really going to run the place for the new owner going to stay? That's a horrible position. If it's 7 years before you're going to sell and it's clear they don't like the game plan, you may have some tough choices, but you got time to get it right. So start early. The last thing is, be profitable today. Let's face it, valuation, other than liquidation, where we're not going to talk about, valuation is a cash flow, a profitability measure times a multiplier in the case of the market method. If there's nothing to multiply, everything else you do, you're going to be disappointed about. To me, those are the 3 starting points for working with an owner who's looking at this or should be looking at this process.
Well, and I think that when I've talked to business owners, sometimes they are behind the 8 ball. So they've been approached by a buyer and the buyer is saying, hey, what do you want to sell for? And that owner is like, oh, I don't know if I've thought about that. And then they haven't had anybody look at their books. They haven't had anybody come in and say, why are you guys doing it like this? I mean, part of that valuation process, which it doesn't have to be a formal valuation process. It could just be looking at and crunching numbers. But part of that process is having a third party come in and look at your books like a buyer would. And I think that that's the important for the timing perspective is if you have more time to do that, you can fix what maybe isn't working. And then the buyer would not have to look at that, it's like the little dirt in the corner, like clean it up, get rid of it, and have something that's more presentable.
Can't say it better.